Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Partnership Guys podcast, season 2, episode 3. I'm here with Todd Leonardis and Rob Stoker. And today we want to talk about chemistry and trust in a partnership. Most partnerships start because the two partners have some kind of chemistry. They like each other, they're friends, they know each other. And that's a great way to start a partnership. But until you can build that trust, you're not going to really be able to take that partnership to the next level. Liking your partner is really helpful, not critical, helpful, but trusting your partner is essential. Chemistry kind of starts that partnership up, starts that business up. But once you get to that point where you're clicking in the business, trust really sustains the partnership and keeps it going. I don't know, Todd, do you have any thoughts about trust and chemistry and things like that?
Absolutely. I mean, you touched on a little bit, but chemistry is that initial attraction to it, and it could be not just emotional or energy. It could be just about some synergies and shared ideas. That said, trust is what kind of holds it all together long term, like you just said. It's about being, it's trust is about being reliable, consistent, vulnerable, and chemistry makes you say, "Yeah, let's do this." Trust makes you survive the hard lessons and sections of the business.
The businesses that I started when I was in college, even before that, but they were with my friends and my college friends. Eventually, we started 3, 4 businesses together and eventually started our own trading floor together. And none of it from day one would have been possible without the trust that we built together. And some of that was our college days and whatever that was of, just taking the time to build the friendship and the ups and the downs and making sure that that person has your back. And it's really big and important. And in the one failed partnership I had, we didn't have any of that. We had no built up trust and respect, and we didn't really even have chemistry. We just had a good business idea, and it all fell apart because there was no trust there and never was.
I mean, the three of us, when we started talking about the Partnership Guys and getting this business off the ground, it was all excitement, right? It was all like falling in love, right? But you can't stay there, right? The chemistry just doesn't sustain the business, and we got very quickly to understand that we needed to start doing things to build trust between the three of us. And we were all friends before we did this. I mean, there was definitely chemistry there, but within the partnership and within the business, we've had to work. It's not hard work, but we've had to work to kind of like create that stability that trust creates, right? The trust maintains.
Chemistry starts companies, but trust builds legacies, and that's why it's so important to be able to look a little bit past that chemistry, because you have to look at somebody and say, no, this is somebody I could trust. This is somebody I want to trust, not just they could do this for me or this is super exciting. It's really important to lean into the trust aspect. Once you see you have chemistry, you have to build that trust quickly.
One of the things that I've seen in joining the two of you is a lot of people that we've known have come up to us and they see the way the two of you have, fill in each other's sentences and complement each other so well in your partnership. And then the question for me is how did you get in there? And the answer is it started with friendship and trust and having difficult conversations and seeing if that chemistry was there and mutual excitement and energy for what we're doing here. And that was both ways. Obviously you two came together kind of as a unit. You've been doing this for so long and understand each other so well. And I'm just so happy to be a part of it and so glad that, I can contribute in any way to, what we're doing, which is in essence helping partnerships survive and thrive and, put in that foundation for partnerships to be successful for a long time.
We get asked all the time, like, how do you just trust somebody? Well, think about like a first date, right? You don't go into that date saying this person has to really prove themselves in order for me to trust them. You go in with an assumption of trust. You go in with the idea that until they do something or say something that breaks that trust, you're going to start at a position of, okay, I'm going to try to trust this person and we're going to go forward from there. We have a quote in the book that goes something like, the best way to trust someone is to trust them. And so that's really where you need to start. And, there's a lot of benefits to that. It really starts to accelerate the friendship. It starts to accelerate the partnership, but it also speeds up aspects of the business. Like, you very quickly will start to feel much more comfortable with decision making, reducing second guessing. Each partner will be able to make decisions in their areas of their decision domains, and it will be acceptable to the other partners much more quickly, as opposed to being critical. And that's crucial, really being able to build a business, and a solid business, along with a solid partnership. Without trust, it's just every decision you make just feels like, all right, what are they going to say now? But if you've got trust built into the relationship, it increases the speed in the business and reduces the pressure.
If you don't trust your partner, every decision really feels like a negotiation, as opposed to a thoughtful decision. So it's really key.
I was going to say, I think that in so many ways, I trust you both more than I trust myself with a lot of these business decisions. When I
That's probably a
have
good
an
idea. That's probably a good idea. Rob.
You're right, Rob.
I appreciate you guys saying that. See, I was right about something. But when I have an idea in my head, it's in my head. It sounds good, sounds great, but when I throw it out to you guys and you say, "No, it's a terrible idea. Let's move on past that," I trust that more than what I trust in my head. I'm just throwing it out there and seeing what you guys think. But if I get the reaction that no, that's no good, let's go in a different direction. That's where I want to go. It takes time to get there to build that trust, but that's what I want. Otherwise, it would all be in my head, and I wouldn't trust myself that the next decision. So many different decisions, I wouldn't trust myself that the next decision I was always making was the right decision, unless I had people that were like-minded and I enjoyed having those conversations with, and I was perfectly okay with saying I was wrong about that.
Yeah, and when you put the time into building the trust, and if you were to tell me, Todd, I don't like it, I don't like the idea, whatever, you don't get defensive. You're like, okay, good. Like, I'm glad. Let's not spend any time on this. Let's just move forward. You don't take offense. You don't get defensive, and it's really amazing how much you get to speed the business up when you have trust and not pressure.
And it's really the biggest thing that we find when we talk to partners that are struggling, is that it's really easy to skip this process, right? Especially when you're starting up a new business. You're very excited about the business. You want to grow the business. You want that first sale. You want to build the business, make it profitable. And so you're not thinking about the partnership. And we have found really for two big reasons. Number one is because of that, like, you're focused on the business, which is important. But it feels weird sometimes to get vulnerable, to kind of bring those soft skills into the process. And there's just this assumption that, you know what, we got along great before the business, we're going to let it along great after we start the business. Doesn't work like that. It's that obsession over strategy and ignoring the relationship is what ultimately leads to failure. And sometimes that's a fast process, sometimes it's a slow process. Building trust is a growth strategy for the business.
And people sometimes assume that friendship equals trust. And it could be a catalyst, it could be a start, but this is a different area of your life. It's typically, when you trust somebody, you trust them across it, but you're not going to really know if you can trust them in business until you're.
Because it gets really hard, and a lot of the decisions that you make as a leader, as a business owner, it's not 100%. A lot of these decisions are 51, 52%, could go this way, could go that way. And if I think one thing and you think another, and I say, let's go with what you want to do, and it turns out that the once in a blue moon happened where I was actually right. It's hard to then allow you to make the next decision and the next decision and the next decision. And in the great partnerships I've had, that's what I've seen is only the support of, I know you know why you made the decision and it didn't work out, and so let me know how I can help you figure out how we make the next decision a better decision. And only supporting each other, and in no way pointing fingers of I told you so and I knew I was right about that, and next time let's do it my way because I was right about that. It's especially when we have type A personalities in a lot of different ways. It's a tough pill to swallow, and it's a tough thing to do, to allow somebody else to to take something over and have that decision domain and take the path that they think is is the best way, whether it works out or not.
Todd and I have been in business together for over 25 years, and we've made plenty of mistakes over the years. But because we have a strong partnership and we trust each other and we're supportive and not critical of each other, we've never made the same mistake twice. And that's really critical to being able to have a long-term successful business. It's okay to make mistakes. Todd makes them all the time, but I try not to be critical of it.
Yeah, you try really hard. Just happens to come out every couple of minutes.
Exactly. But it's really about communication. We talked about this. We keep talking about this over and over again, and it's true. But it's really about having that consistent communication with each other. And like you were saying, Rob, being able to go to your partner in a trusting environment and being able to throw an idea out there or say, look, I tried this thing. It did not work. I need some help fixing it. And just being able to share that with your partner in a way that is not going to be, you don't feel like you're going in there and they're just going to criticize you and yell at you and be upset. Yeah, it's a mistake. Stuff happens. It might have cost some money, but it's not going to end the partnership, which means it's not going to end the business.
A lot of people, when they heard the story of my bad partnership, their reaction was, that's why you don't do business with friends. And that's where I always say it was the exact opposite. I've done business with friends my whole life. That only inspired me more to get into partnerships and just make sure that they're the right partnerships done the right way from the start. And that's why when I saw what you guys were putting together and I started to read it, I was instantly hooked. You're laid out what clearly partnerships and I should have been doing from the minute one, 3 decades ago.
Following through on commitments is a great way to build trust. Sharing personal context and, like we said earlier, being vulnerable, which doesn't come easy to everybody. It takes time. You have to build that muscle. And when conflict doesn't happen, just be respectful. Don't attack. Be respectful. Talk it through. And really important to give each other autonomy so you can do what you need to do, but also recognition when things do go well, right? Because we don't pat ourselves on the back. And our employees won't pat us on the back. Our family will pat us on the back. They won't know why. Your partner knows why. And it's when I get a compliment or an attaboy from one of you guys, it makes me feel better. It really helps to, guide me in where I'm going. And it's so important. And it's, because trust isn't just a feeling, it's a pattern. So you really want to stay consistent with how you're communicating with each other.
Yeah, that's the problem of the solopreneur, right? They have nobody that can, or nobody that will kind of pat them on the back and say, good job. I mean, you're all by yourself. And which sounds awesome, right? Because I'm totally autonomous. I can do anything I can do anything I want to do. Yeah, great. Then you turn around, there's nobody behind you supporting you when things go bad. And when you've got a trusting partnership in a business, that trust compounds over time, and it just continues to support the partnership, continues to support the business, and puts you in a position of success. It's a spiraling upward kind of a thing. And it's something that you can't get either in a bad partnership or in a solo entrepreneur situation.
We have consistent communication. We are always talking about everything we're doing. I don't know how somebody does that all in their head. I've never really been a solo entrepreneur. I have always looked for the right partners in so many things, whether it was, the lacrosse headgear we made. I needed really strong, good partners in a lot of different fields. It started with that communication. Now we're following through with different things that we're doing and how we're handling conflict respectfully and how we're also giving our partner, freedom to do what they think is the right thing to do. And I would have never been able to make that headgear if it wasn't for the support of those great partnerships. I would have given up 1,000 times over.
It's the foundation. I mean, without it, the house crumbles, right? It's the operating system of the business. Trust is everything. And without trust, nothing's going to run smoothly. You're going to be constantly fighting with each other. And all that energy goes into negativity as opposed to positivity. And it just makes it so much harder to have success without trust in a partnership. And it's so easy to build and maintain. You just got to do the work.
Trust is the glue to a successful partnership, for sure.
All right. Thanks for a good conversation today, guys.
Always.
This is the Partnership Guys podcast, season 2, episode 3. I'm Steve Schneider, Rob Stoker, and Todd Leonardis. Please visit us at thepartnershipguys.com. You can find the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If there's anything you need, let us know. We're here for you, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.
Take care.
Take it easy, everybody.